I find it interesting that Ryan Murphy omitted certain details about Jeffrey Dahmer in his series depicting the monster's rampage. I believe that this was done in an attempt to humanize the monster, but you be the judge. Got the right bitch, no lefty, walking my truth, don't fuck with my step king, crawl for you walk, run it, catch me, got a sharp tongue. I find it interesting that Ryan Murphy omitted certain details about Jeffrey Dahmer in his series depicting the monster's rampage. I believe that this was done in an attempt to humanize the monster, but you be the judge. Throughout the series, we're given the impression that Jeffrey simply was a lonely guy who was willing to do anything, including taking lives because he didn't want to be left alone. He simply wanted companionship and cuddling, when in actuality, that is not the case. These were extreme sex crimes. He even attempted to preserve various victims' genitals. The series also gave us the impression that Dahmer only had one child victim. However, Jamie Doxtator is another 14-year-old who Dahmer admitted to victimizing. Not only was he a homicidal maniac, but he was also a serial chomo. The Native American who he unalived in his grandmother's house was a child. Two of Dahmer's arrests were also left out of the series. One arrest in 1981, which is the real reason he was sent to live with his grandmother. The other arrest in 1986 for this offense, pause to read. His crimes against children, along with the fact that he was living in the area and seen in the mall at the time of the abduction, is why many believe that he's responsible for the decapitation of young Adam Walsh. Someone else confessed for the crimes against Adam Walsh. However, that person later recanted and admitted that they simply wanted to make the police look stupid. Dahmer never confessed, but he did make it clear that he wouldn't confess if he had committed the crime, out of fear of Florida's death penalty, as well as how the inmates would react to him violating a child this young. We're also led to believe that Dahmer was a good boy throughout his military days. However, Preston Davis reported that he was drugged, assaulted, and beaten by Dahmer while they were alone in Belgium. Also, Dahmer's bunkmate, Billy Capshaw, confessed that Dahmer had beat and assaulted him as well throughout their periods of rooming together.
He would get to the point happy, 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 you know, and if when he was to the point to where he had enough alcohol in him, he would not say another word. He would get quiet, and a matter of fact, he would attack you.
In the final episode of the series, my favorite scene, by the way, we're introduced to Jeffrey's friend, Jesse Anderson, who is convicted of shanking his wife over 20 times in the head and face, then blaming it on 3 black men. Jesse Anderson was clearly guilty of the attack on his wife. Jesse was witnessed purchasing the weapon as well as purchasing the black baseball cap that he claimed was left behind by the black men who attacked his wife. The series harped on the idea that Dahmer's crimes were not race-related. He was simply infatuated with men of color. However, the last friend he made in jail seemed to be quite racist. As I said at the beginning of the video, I believe that this was purposefully done to humanize Dahmer, but you be the judge. How quickly we forget. Before all the backlash, Evan was getting a lot of buzz with potential awards for his role as Jeffrey Dahmer. Many must have forgot that Evan was noticeably silent during the height of BLM, right after the brutal homicide of George Floyd. This was a very critical period in entertainment because many celebrities were choosing a side. Evan appeared neutral until he broke his silence, retweeting this video of a person condoning violence against looters, aka BLM protesters. Run it. Pay attention to this guy's commentary.
Running out of steam. He's running out of steam. Get him! Yeah! Oh, shit! Oh, Jesus Christ.
If anybody's watching at home, they mean business with this curfew.
All right.
Tolerate any more of the...
I have no personal opinion on how Evan may feel about melanated people. I don't know the guy. However, I do think it's a bit eerie how comfortable he fits into these sadistic roles.
Jeffrey Dahmer was attacked and killed by another inmate this week. Just before the fight, Dahmer threatened, "Hey, don't mess with me, pal. I used to eat guys like you for breakfast."
Child, you talk about bullshit like that? Well, apparently SNL had a whole period where they thought that homicidal maniacs were comedy. Child, run it.
We're the court-appointed attorneys for Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey, what is it that you wanted to see us about? Gentlemen, I think I've found a way to convince the jury that I'm insane.
Now we know that SNL doesn't have time to keep a diverse cast. You know that they can't make time to hire people of color. However, they make time to write scripts and rehearse bullshit like this.
Hello, I'm Ted Bundy. Thank you. You know, all too often we Americans take electricity for granted.
Baby, this scene really interrupted my spirit. I'm never going to forget this scene. I think it's one of the most horrible things that I've seen in cinematic history. It really blows my mind that we're living in such a sensitive time where our voices are so muted and censored. However, the #1 movie on Netflix for approximately a week was a movie that highlighted the homicidal rampage of a cisgender white gay man and his exploits on ending the lives of men of color. We're so offended by everything, but when will we be offended by the idea of taking black lives? When will that become a thing that we're not accustomed to just watching and consuming? I don't want to be desensitized to seeing my people killed. On top of that, another movie glorifies yet another sadistic, psychotic, cisgender melanemic man. All of the victims weren't even highlighted in the movie. We could have gotten the story. We could have gotten the story of this brutality. We could have gotten the story of the victims. We could have even gotten the story of the systemic racism in Milwaukee's police departments without having to hear a motherfucking thing about that blonde-haired sadist. Now, you know I'm a Virgo, so I thought about this all night. Like, girl, why did you watch that shit? Do not put me up on no pedestal. I am not perfect. I am not a perfect person. I could give you a million reasons why I may have watched that bullshit. But I honestly don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a psychologist and I'm extremely fascinated with human behavior even when it's abnormal or unusual. Maybe it's because I secretly want to be an FBI profiler and I want to profile serial killers. Maybe it's because I'm a human. And like most humans, I'm captivated by a spectacle. Maybe I looked at it to protect myself in some way. Maybe there's a part of me that thinks if I'm aware of people like that and I know that they exist, then I can protect myself from them, or I can prevent being one of their victims. I could definitely tell you that the performance by Niecy Nash kept my attention. The story of Tony kept my attention. The story of Konerak kept my attention. But it didn't change the fact that that series definitely damaged my psyche. My soul knows that this shouldn't be normalized in our society as entertainment. Now, I'm not telling y'all not to watch it, but I just want y'all to be aware of what you're consuming if you do watch it. I lost a lot of respect for Netflix and Ryan Murphy after watching this series.